Have you ever had one of those moments where you're standing in the middle of your room, phone in hand, scrolling, and suddenly you think, what am I actually doing with my life? Not in a dramatic movie way, more like, did I just open Instagram, close it, open it again, and still don't know why I'm tired? Yeah, that feeling, that weird, heavy, foggy feeling where nothing feels wrong, but nothing feels right either. Welcome to the psychology of feeling lost in life. And don't worry, if you're feeling lost, you're not broken. You're actually very human. Let's talk about it. First, let's clear something up. Feeling lost doesn't mean you've failed. It means your brain is doing something uncomfortable, but important. Think about Google Maps. When you're driving and it says, recalculating. That's not the app giving up on you. That's the app saying, okay, this route doesn't work anymore. Let's find a better one. Feeling lost is your brain recalculating. The problem is, Google Maps doesn't panic. We do. Here's what usually triggers that lost feeling. You wake up one day and realize the things that used to excite you don't anymore. The goals you chased feel empty. Everyone else seems to have a plan. And you're just standing there like, did I miss a meeting where life directions were handed out? Psychologists call this an identity gap. That moment when who you were no longer fits, but who you're becoming hasn't shown up yet. And your brain hates gaps. It hates uncertainty. Your brain would rather be unhappy and certain than hopeful and unsure. That's why feeling lost feels so uncomfortable. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you go to your favorite restaurant. You sit down, the waiter comes and says, sorry, we removed everything you like from the menu. You're still hungry. But now, confused. You don't want the old dishes anymore. You don't know what to order next. And everyone around you is already eating. That's exactly what feeling lost is like. You're hungry for meaning. But the old menu doesn't work anymore. Now here's the part nobody tells you. Feeling lost often comes right before growth. But because growth doesn't come with fireworks or background music, we panic. Psychologically, this happens when your internal values start changing. What impressed you at 18 doesn't impress you at 25. What motivated you at 25 feels meaningless at 30. Your brain starts asking deeper questions like, why am I doing this? Is this actually my life? If nobody was watching, what would I choose? And those questions don't come with easy answers, so your mind says, I don't know what I want anymore, and labels it as being lost. Let's add some light humor here. Feeling lost is like opening the fridge every 10 minutes. You're not hungry for food. You're hungry for something. You stare. You close it. You walk away. 2 minutes later, you're back. Same fridge, same confusion. Your brain does the same thing with life. You check old dreams. Nope. You check money goals. You check other people's lives. Instant regret. Close fridge. Open again. Another big reason we feel lost? Comparison. Your brain is constantly scanning for proof that you're behind. You see someone younger doing better. Someone older looking happier. Someone doing exactly what you thought you'd be doing by now. Psychologically, comparison triggers something called social timeline pressure. It's the silent belief that life has a deadline. Career by this age. Marriage by this age. Success by this age. But here's the truth. Life doesn't run on a single timeline. It runs on personal seasons. Some people bloom early. Some bloom late. Some bloom, rest, then bloom again. And some are still underground, building roots. Roots don't look impressive, but without them, nothing grows. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Sometimes feeling lost is your brain protecting you. When you're chasing something that doesn't align with who you are, your mind creates resistance. You lose motivation. You feel confused. You feel tired. Not because you're lazy, but because your mind is saying, this path isn't you anymore. But instead of listening, we judge ourselves. We say, I should be more focused. I should be more motivated. I should know what I'm doing. And the word should quietly crushes curiosity. Let's flip the perspective. What if being lost isn't the problem? What if rushing to be found is? When you're lost, you start observing. You question. You reflect. Psychologically, this is when self-awareness increases. And self-awareness is uncomfortable, because now you can't lie to yourself as easily. You can't unsee what doesn't fit anymore, and that's scary, but powerful. Here's a simple exercise your brain naturally does when you're lost. It starts subtracting instead of adding. You don't suddenly know what you want, but you clearly know what you don't want. And that's progress. You don't want constant stress. You don't want fake happiness. You don't want to live on autopilot. That narrowing down, that's direction forming. Slowly, quietly. Let me tell you something reassuring. Most people who look found are just good at hiding confusion. Confidence is often just comfort with uncertainty. They don't have all the answers. They just stop panicking about the questions. So what actually helps when you feel lost? Not a 5-year plan, not motivation quotes, not comparing timelines. What helps is trying small things without pressure, letting curiosity lead instead of fear, allowing yourself to be a beginner again. Psychologically, small actions restore a sense of control. You don't need to know where your whole life is going. You just need to know what feels slightly better than yesterday. That's it. Here's something powerful. Feeling lost often means your old identity expired. And instead of celebrating growth, we grieve familiarity. But you're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. So if you're feeling lost right now, if you feel like you're floating without direction, if you're tired of pretending you have it together, if you feel behind, confused, or uncertain, let me tell you this. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not failing. You are in transition. And transitions feel messy. They feel uncomfortable. They feel lonely. But they also mean movement, even when it feels like standing still. One last thought before we end. You don't find yourself by thinking harder. You find yourself by living honestly. And sometimes, being lost is just life asking you to slow down, pay attention, and choose again. Not the life you were told to want, but the one that actually feels like yours. And if you're still unsure, that's okay. Recalculating takes time.